Hey guys, Fireman Dan here. Welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. I apologize, it's been a little bit since I uploaded a video. Been a little bit busy with life and some other things. And I also just got a brand new computer built, so hopefully this will improve the quality of videos. I had one we recorded on our Let's Play series that I got going on with Storm and Evander, but because I just installed all the software, for whatever reason, it did not record audio. I guess I didn't check the right box or something. So that was a whole episode wasted. So that didn't get uploaded. But this time I thought we would go into some of my scripts that I like to use. I did one on mods, and I figured it's time for scripts. Now, if you don't know how to use scripts, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the workshop, find a script you want. Just pick one, something you like, and subscribe to it. Each script is different on how you set it up. So you'll have to read the description or they have a little tutorial or something on how that specific script works. Now the ones I'm just going to show them to you. I'm not going to go into how you set them up and how you use them. If you guys need me to, just drop some comments down below and ask me how to set this up, how to set that up, and I'll go through them. But that's not the purpose of this video. So first off, once you get in your game, in order for scripts to work, it needs to be in experimental mode. And in order to do that, come down here to Options, Game, and this little box right here says Experimental Mode. Make sure that's checked. Then you need to turn scripts on in your world. If you're creating a new game, go to New Game, whichever one you want. Under Advanced, you come down here and where's it at? In-game scripts. Make sure that is checked. And then just hit OK. If you already have a game set up and you want to turn on scripts, go to Load Game. Whichever world you're using, hit Edit Settings, Advanced. Come down and check that box. Enable in-game scripts. Now let's go ahead and jump into the world and we'll get started. I'll see you there. Alright, welcome back. Now that we're in the world here, let's go ahead and get in and show you how to make scripts. First off, you need a programmable block, right? Place down a programmable block. Programmable block, I already got one down here at the bottom. Place it down wherever. You come in, and this is what you see. You got your on, off, your block name. Come down here and hit Edit, Browse Scripts, and these are all the scripts that you're subscribed to. Pick whichever one you want. In this case, I already got one running on this. Taleden Inventory Manager, copy to editor, check code, and hit OK. And that's all you got to do. From here, after you do that setup, this script is now running on this programmable block. Then you need to read the script's description and instruction and how it works and set it up properly. But let's get started and let's go into my must-have scripts. Alright, up first, and in no particular order, is Whip's Turret AI Slaving script, made by Whiplash. Basically what this does is this script slaves custom-made rotor turrets to an AI turret. Let me show you how it works. Alright, so as you see here, I have an AI turret, and I got a custom-built rotor turret here, right? Right now they're doing nothing, because, well, the turret's doing nothing. But if I come over here and jump into the control seat, and I take control of this turret, you can see that rotor turret is aiming wherever I aim, right? If I start shooting, the rotor turret also shoots. And what's cool about this is you can have as many designators as you want, or as many rotor turrets as you want. So I could put 10 of these down and have 10 of these rotor turrets controlled by a single AI turret. And the interesting part is, with the way the damage models and the damage output works, these little Gatling turrets for the small grids, one of these outputs the same amount of damage as this. And that's at the time of this recording, obviously, and this is vanilla. So, for one Gatling turret, this has 8. This thing will shred enemy strips. Shred them. Obviously, it's made out of small grids, so if it takes any damage from a rocket or an enemy Gatling gun, it's gonna get shredded itself. But you put a handful of these down, controlled by one AI turret, and you can really rip enemies to shreds. The catch is, this is a rotor turret. It's built on, well, rotors. As of this recording, and I hope they change it, but it's been the same way for years, you cannot print subgrids on a projector. So you would have to sit here and build every solitary rotor turret by hand if you were doing this in survival. If they take damage, you have to rebuild them. Keep that in mind. Alright, let's move on. So, up next is Izzy's solar alignment script, made by Izzy. All this does is this points solar panels or oxygen farms directly at the sun. This is very useful because I'm sure those of you know who experience with the game know that if your solar panel or your oxygen farm is not pointing directly at the sun, you lose potential output. This automatically points it at the sun. So, as you see here, I got the script running in one of those programmable blocks. Rotor, 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 2 solar panels. Right? Look where the sun is. You're pointing directly at the sun. That means as long as it's daylight, you get the full potential output of solar panels. This is very, very useful if you are starting off in survival and you want to get the maximum output while you build your base. They say before you get up off the planet's surface and get some uranium. Or even if you have uranium and you want to save yourself and use solar panel instead. This, well, like I said before, I'm just repeating myself, gives you the max total output of your solar panels. Or oxygen farms. Up next is Tim, Taleden's inventory manager. And this says unofficial. The reason it says unofficial here is the original creator of Tim, Taleden, he doesn't manage the script anymore. I guess he had some life issues going on that forced him to step back away from space engineers. So other players or other creators have taken over his script and they've updated it and kept it running. And this is one of them. This one is made by Bunbot. This is the one I use and it works. What is Tim? Tim controls everything to do with your inventory. It can automatically sort cargo. It can automatically build things. It can pull, since it manages cargo, it can pull, say, ore out of a miner without you doing anything. Let me just give you a brief example here. So, as a brief example, I got 2 cargo containers here, right? This one, if you see, when I set it up, I named it bracket Tim ore ingot bracket. That means I want ore and ingots in this cargo container. Whoops. Look right here. I got components, I got my ore, and I got my ingots. This one I have nothing. And up here, this one named components. So I want all my components in this cargo container. I want all my ore ingots in this cargo container. Watch what happens. Ingots, or components, ore, and ingots. Now you can also use this to sort out ammunition, so for rifles or even Gatling turrets or missiles. You can use this to sort out your your like oxygen bottles and hydrogen bottles, so they automatically go into, say, an oxygen tank or or O2 generator. So if I were to throw a empty oxygen tank in here, it would automatically go over to my O2 generator and get filled. You can use it to keep an X number of ammo in each turret. You can use it to keep a certain amount of uranium in reactors, because right now if I would run a pipe from here over to that reactor and I would put uranium in here, if I'd put 100,000 worth of uranium, all 100,000 would attempt to be pumped into that reactor. What if I don't want all that in there? What if I only want, say, 10,000 in there and the rest in the cargo containers so I have easy access to it? Well, I can just simply tell Tim to put 100 or 10,000 uranium in a reactor, and it works the same for oxygen tank, or not oxygen tanks, O2 generators. You only want X number of ice in there. Say this cargo container, let's say, so I got 100 and 100. So let's say over here I want 10 cobalt ingots. Right, so COL for cobalt, 10. Cobalt, what is it? Ingots, maybe? I don't remember the command for that, but let's do this. Let's go ingot 10. Now I got 10 ingots. And over here you see 90. So you can sort individual amounts in cargo containers. You can have 10 cargo containers in a row and have this one, all 4 components, and this one be P1 for priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, priority 4, and so on. So this one fills up first, then number 2, then number 3, then number 4. Tim's very, very useful. It's very complex, and it can be a little difficult to use at times if you don't know all the commands. As you've seen, I couldn't remember just cobalt ingots command for it, so that's why I just did ingots. But I use this regularly on a lot of my builds. Okay, so moving on. Up next is automatic LCDs 2. What is automatic LCDs? Well, this displays information about your build, your grid. And there's a lot that you can do with it. In fact, let me actually pull up the guide here. So in the guide, you can see, go up to the top, get up to the top, get up to the top. So you can display your inventory, so you know exactly what you got. You can display cargo, cargo of specified cargo containers. So inventory shows all your inventory, cargo displays all your cargo. Power, it can show power statistics for specified blocks, as you see. So reactors, how much power and engines are using, or solar panels. Power storage shows how charged batteries are. I like power time. Power time tells me how much juice I got left. So it could be, I can show I have 1 hour of power, 90 minutes of power. When I'm using this, let's say I'm using a battery powered ship. I use power time, but I also use the one for battery powered storage. So I can see how much power is stored in all of my batteries, as well as how much time I got left. Charge is used for jump drives. You can use damage for if you got any damaged blocks. What else? Oxygen. Oxygen is for vents. So if you got a vent leaking somewhere, aka a hole in your ship, and it's not pressurized, this will tell you. Tanks. Tanks will tell you the fill level of both hydrogen and oxygen tanks. You can show time. Why would you want time? I think it's real time, like your actual time where you're at. You got altitude, so it's an altitude display. You got speed, which shows you how fast you're going. Your mass. What else? There's ones that I find really helpful. Let me find it. Distance. No, it's stop distance. Let me find it here. Oh, stop distance and stop time. So stop distance is, let's say you're flying along and you turn on your inertia dampeners. That is...
Mic off. Mic on.
Excuse me. This will tell you how far you will travel before your ships come to a complete stop. If you have ever crashed into an asteroid, or you've ever crashed into the ground, or into another ship, you should know not to fly directly at whatever object you are going to intercept. Stop distance, this command helps you to prevent crashing. Because if you know how far away you are, let's say you got an antenna or a beacon for your mothership or your space station or whatever it is, it says, it'll tell you, hey, it will take 500 meters to stop, and you are 1 kilometer away from where you're flying at, you better start slowing down. If it said it would take you 500 meters to stop, and you were 300 meters away, you better hope you can turn, or otherwise you're going to meet whatever it is you're flying at. Stop time is the same thing. It just tells you the amount of time it'll take you to stop. Now let me show you this in action. As you see, you got no damage blocks found and stop distance. That's all I have on this specific grid. But you know, it's there. Alright, moving on. Alright, up next is fancy status displays by Coffee, and I'm not even going to attempt to butcher that. Fancy status displays is a lot like automatic LCDs too. It displays information, and batteries. You can display the fuel level of your tanks, your cargo, various different. Various different items in here. That's these right here. This little bar right down here at the bottom is much prettier than the text above it. Same thing down here in the bottom left. That's my ammo count. It's much prettier than its basic text. That's why I use it. But both automatic LCDs too, and the fancy status display can show the same thing, except automatic LCD shows a little more, such as damage blocks, and it can show stop distance, stop time, things of that nature. I use them both in conjunction with one another. Up next is MART's WIP's mouse aim rotor turret script. Mouse aim rotor turret. This script is basically the same as his other one. This script is basically the same as that right there, except it doesn't use an AI turret. Instead, it uses your regular mouse inputs. So watch. All I did was hopped in and I just started moving my mouse around. Right? Okay. There we go. Now it's firing. Alright, that was weird. So, that's about it, basically. That's WIP's mouse aim. So that's pretty cool. You can make tanks and stuff like that. Last but not least is the Easy Lidar homing script made by Elysius. This is basically guided missiles. There's several different guidance modes. Right, so this is fire and forget. You got GPS targeting. You can use, let's see, GPS, fixed glide, which is like a standard rocket. You use turret homing, so it will use both onboard turret to aim it, or if you have a turret on the missile itself, like a large grid missile, you can put a gun turret on it and it will use that as well. But this is it. This is an easy Lidar missile. It's a little big, and that was because I put 2 generators on it. I made it a little bit bigger itself, but it uses the cameras and it uses the built-in Lidar feature to track enemy grids and, well, shoot them down. You can use hydrogen powered like I did. You can use atmospheric. You can use ions. The only thing you gotta keep in mind is this one is made out of small grid. It's meant for small grid ships, obviously. If you were to take this and launch this at a large grid, if they have any kind of decent defense system, it's going to get shot down very, very easily. So this is something that you would use for a small grid fighter flying around, or if you got a tank on the ground somewhere, you can launch it at that as well. It doesn't have to be used just for small grids. You can make a large grid missile out of this script as well. I just don't have one to display here for you. So to recap, we got easy solar alignment script. We got AI turret slaving script. We got Taleden. In here we got the mouse aim script. We got the fancy status displays, and we got easy automatic LCDs too. And those are my go-to scripts. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you need me to go more in depth in some of these scripts, go ahead and ask as well, and I will see what I can do for you. That's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time in Space Engineering.